Hello, I'm Michael.
I'm Sally, and this is Wrestle MSX.
Wow. We open with Triple H asking if we're ready, then hear the SummerSlam theme sung by JellyRoll. We then get The Miz saying the party of the summer starts now. Finally, the first match gets underway, and it's Liv Morgan defending her Women's World Championship against Rhea Ripley. Dominic Mysterio heading down with Rhea. Oh, and by the way, the ref has a camera in his ear called a ref cam. Anyway, Morgan escapes the ring to begin with. Ripley follows. Morgan gets back in. Rhea follows. Morgan leaves again. Ripley feigns leaving the ring, and Morgan slides in and into Mommy's path. Finally, Rhea gets her hands on Liv and completely overpowers her. Ripley hits a riptide, with Morgan landing on the turnbuckle. This was intentional. Then goes for another riptide in the centre of the ring, but Morgan escapes it. Morgan then pushes Ripley into the ring post, and you can hear Rhea saying to Dom, "It's out," meaning her shoulder's out its socket. Morgan then targets Rhea's shoulder at every opportunity, even hitting a codebreaker on it. Rhea Ripley then goes full Martin Riggs, Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon, and hits her shoulder on the announcer's table to put it back in place. Now back to full health, Ripley hits Liv with a riptide for a 2 count and then goes for another, but Morgan reverses it into a DDT, getting a 2 count of her own. A crucifix driver gets Morgan another 2 count. Morgan, now out of ideas, leaves the ring and returns with a chair. Rhea kicks it out of her hand and goes to use it herself. As Ripley swings the chair behind her head to bring it crashing down on Morgan, Dom grabs it from the apron. Ripley turns to him, but Dom says, "You use it and the match is over." While they're talking, Liv hits Oblivion on Ripley, but only gets a 2 count. Dom then gets on the apron on the other side of the ring, distracting the referee. As he does this, Morgan hits another Oblivion on Rhea, but this time Rhea lands head first onto the chair, which is still in the ring. Dom smiles as Morgan goes for the cover and gets a 3 count, retaining her title. Morgan then leaves the ring and straight into Dirty Dom's arms. The two kiss and then walk away arm in arm back down the entranceway. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, we did see this coming from a mile away, but that's not the point. When you actually see it, woo! Mummy will now be channeling Drew McIntyre's rage.
100%. We go to the Judgement Day clubhouse, where a furious Damian Priest is asking where Dom is. Priest asks Finn Balor if he knew they were an item, to which Balor replies no. JD McDonough, Carlito and Balor then go searching for Dirty Dom. Next out is Bron Breakker against Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. Breakker launches a spear as soon as the bell rings. Zayn dodges it, leaving Breakker to spear the ring post instead, hurting his shoulder. Shoulders seem to be a running theme here. Breakker goes for a gorilla press slam, but his shoulder gives out, dropping Zayn. Sami gains the upper hand until a Frankensteiner stops him in his tracks for a 2 count. Zayn then reverses a Bron Breakker top turnbuckle move into a blue thunder bomb, but only for a 2 count. Sami then hits an exploder and sets up for the haluva kick, but halfway across the ring he's met with a spear. Sami struggles to his feet as Breakker runs the ropes and spears Sami once again. Breakker makes the cover and becomes the new Intercontinental Champion.
And I hope he just destroys everybody.
Oh yeah.
We need somebody that's just going to destroy everyone.
Yeah.
Like
smashing everyone.
A Lesnar when he was there, or a Goldberg. Just that's it.
Yeah.
You need that kind of character sometimes, and I think this guy can be it.
Definitely.
LA Knight versus Logan Paul next for the United States Championship. Knight arriving in Paul's car he jacked the other night. It wasn't vandalised with "yeah" as we thought. What Knight did do though was put the window through on the driver's side with a metal pole. Don't do that at home, kids. As Knight got to the ring, Paul attacked him before the bell had even rung. Knight turns the brawl in his favour, clearing the announcer's table and performing a neckbreaker on Paul on the table. Knight then throws Paul into the ring. The bell rings and the match is officially underway. In the ring, the match is pretty much back and forth. Paul getting a 2 count off a gut wrench powerbomb, then a side effect and big elbow from Knight from the top rope gets him a 2 count. We nearly miss a springboard moonsault to the outside from Logan as the cameraman gets in the way and runs for his life. But back in the ring, Knight kicks out of a cover at 2 after Paul had hit him with his steel hand. Knight then performs a superplex from the top rope on Paul. Paul looking spent, but he still manages to kick out at 2 after Knight had covered him. A rapper at ringside, a friend of Paul, handed him some brass knuckles, which Paul does use on Knight from the apron. LA staggers to the middle of the ring. Logan drops the brass knucks, somersaults over the top rope and gets ready to clothesline Knight. Knight ducks the impending attack, turns it into blunt force trauma and pins Logan Paul to become the new United States champion.
Yeah!
Good. Get him out of there.
Yeah.
Let's have the belt weekly on SmackDown. That's all we want. It's wrestling. It's not messing about with a belt. That's it.
Bayley looks to defend her title next as she takes on Nia Jax. Jax walks down to the ring sporting a new Queen of the Ring crown. A Samoan drop soon puts a stop to Bayley's early onslaught. Jax then misses a leg drop on the apron as the two women then fight on the outside. Jax goes back in the ring as Bayley goes up to the top turnbuckle. Jax stopped this by slamming Bayley back down to the mat. Jax then hits a Uranagi on Bayley, followed by the Annihilator. Bayley kicks out at 2 from the follow-up cover. Jax, now incensed, lands multiple headbutts on Bayley and even Samoan drops her on the outside for good measure. Jax then throws Bayley back into the ring and squashes her in the corner. With Bayley down, Jax goes for another Annihilator, but as she's climbing the corner, Bayley gets up and powerbombs Jax. She then hits Jax with an elbow drop and goes for the pin. Jax kicks out at 2. Tiffany Stratton makes her way out, gets up on the apron, but gets knocked back down straight away by Bayley. Bayley then covers Jax again, but only for a 2. Bayley decides to run the ropes, but Jax pop-up powerbombs her, then powerbombs her again, and then follows this up with 2 Annihilators. Jax stays sat on top of Bayley after the second Annihilator, and the ref counts to 3. Nia Jax is the new WWE Women's Champion.
I haven't got a problem with that.
No.
Love it.
Yeah.
Somebody
Happy
different.
with that.
Again, just plough through everybody.
Yeah, and you've got the story of her being friends with Tiffy.
Yeah.
Who's got the case. Will she cash it in on
Of course
her?
she will. Storyline. 3 title changes so far. And up next, Drew McIntyre against CM Punk. Now this is what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
The special guest referee for this match heads out first, Seth Rollins, and he has a special ref cam in his ear. So you can imagine it started as a slobber knocker, both men pummeling each other from the off. With both men brawling outside the ring, Seth took a seat on the ropes, not bothering to give them a count out. Drew swinging Punk into the announcer's table while Seth conducted the crowd as they sang his theme song. Back in the ring, McIntyre went for a pin, which Punk kicked out of at 1. Drew gave Seth a look, to which Seth said, "Come on, you said you were going to kill him. He's still moving." Now I love that from Seth.
Yeah.
And he's right. Don't just sing it, bring it. Drew then hits Punk with a sit-down powerbomb cover combo, which only gets a 2 count. Punk looking like a broken man at this point. Drew goes outside and re-enters the ring with a chair. He tells Seth to look away, to which Seth does. But as Drew's about to take a swing at Punk, Seth grabs the chair away. Drew pushes Seth. Seth swings at Drew with the chair. McIntyre ducks and Rollins just manages to stop himself from hitting Punk. It was close.
So close.
Drew sets up for a claymore, but Punk catches him with a knee. Then another knee and an elbow drop from the top rope. He then covers McIntyre, but only for a 2 count. Punk locks in the Anaconda Vice, and while he has Drew in it, takes his bracelet off Drew. As both men get up, Drew hits a claymore for a 2 count. Drew then sets up for the Future Shock DDT, only for Punk to escape it and set up Drew for the GTS. As Punk's about to execute, he notices Seth wearing his bracelet. It had come off and Seth was looking after it. Punk drops Drew and questions Seth's intentions with the bracelet. As the 2 men argue, McIntyre attacks Punk from behind, sending him crashing into Seth, which in turn sends Seth to the outside. McIntyre goes for the Future Shock DDT again, but Punk reverses it into a GTS. Punk goes for the cover, but there's no ref. By the time Seth gets back in the ring, Punk's pinned Drew for a good 8 count, but Seth only gets to a 2 count as McIntyre kicks out. Punk turns his attention to Seth once again, blaming him for not counting the pin quickly enough, even though Seth was out of it. Seth argues that no one wants him here. Punk then hits a GTS on Rollins. McIntyre then low blows Punk and finishes him with a Claymore before covering him. Seth wakes up and does a very slow 3 count. Not on purpose, he was just out of it. McIntyre wins, takes back Punk's bracelet and walks out victorious. This rivalry appears to be continuing.
Which I don't mind.
I haven't got a problem with this, love it. And now
Yeah.
Seth might be a bit more involved. I think this is brilliant, I do.
Back at the Judgement Day's den, and Finn Balor tells Priest he can't find Dirty Dom and Liv. He then says, if you want me out there later for your match, just say. Which leads us nicely to the next match of Damian Priest versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. This seemingly starts the opposite to the Punk-Drew match, with both competitors eyeing each other up, well, for the first 5 seconds anyway, before all hell broke loose with slaps, forearms, kicks and a 2 count cover attempt from Gunther. We then see a Hurricane Rana and a broken arrow from Priest before he covers Gunther for a 2 count. We then go back to big slaps and kicks, Priest busting open Gunther's chest.
Painful.
Priest then missed Gunther as he ran at him, with Gunther powerbombing him into a cover for a 2. Both men seem spent by now, yet Priest managed a South of Heaven for a 2 count. 2 lariats get Gunther a 2 count, but this all seems to drain Priest as he kneels in the ring, beckoning Gunther on. Gunther obliges, kicking, slapping and chopping at a half-dead Priest. Finn Balor then approaches the ring, encouraging his stablemate to fight on. Gunther, though, continues the assault, even kicking Balor. This, though, energises Priest as his second wind kicks in. Priest delivers a Razor's Edge and a South of Heaven to Gunther, who rolls to the edge of the ring to escape. Priest catches him, though, and covers him. As the ref gets to the count of 2, Balor puts Gunther's leg on the ropes, breaking the count.
What's going on?
Priest isn't aware of this at first, but then he watches it back on the big screen in the stadium. Upon seeing it, he heads straight for Balor, but Gunther intercepts and locks in a sleeper. Priest manages to escape and grabs Balor by the throat through the ropes. Gunther pulls Priest back into the ring, powerbombs him and locks in another sleeper. This time, Priest falls victim to it and passes out. Gunther becomes the new World Heavyweight Champion, Balor looking on, smiling.
Oh, he is not going to be in Priest's good books.
Oh, no. No one's in his good books.
I just hope that this isn't the end of the Judgment Day.
Oh, yeah.
I like the little skits and the comedy moments on Raw. You know, maybe they just wanted to get Priest out.
Yeah,
Because
maybe.
if Balor's in charge, you may let Dom and Liv in. But then will Rhea Ripley leave? I mean, has Dom left? Or is he bringing Liv in?
I don't know.
What's going on? We then see JellyRoll chokeslamming Austin Theory. Because why not? No, the Miz and R-Truth were interrupted by A-Town Down Under as they were revealing the attendance. A-Town then turned on JellyRoll, and this is what led to the Roll chokeslamming Theory.
Final match of the night. Cody Rhodes defending his undisputed WWE Championship against Solo Sikoa in a Bloodline rules match. We watch Cody make his way to the ring from his tour bus. Along the way, he walks his dog, puts his coat on, speaks to Double A, Arn Anderson, who tells him not to worry tonight as he's spoken to a couple of the guys about helping him later, as he knows Solo will get help sometime during the match. Rhodes then dons his school mask and enters the stadium.
After some slapping by both men and a disaster kick from Rhodes, Solo hits a spin kick and goes for a pin, but only for a 2 count. This is followed up by 2 Simone drops and another cover for 2. A Cody cutter ends up with both men outside the ring, with Rhodes then slamming Sikoa into the hydration station. Back in the ring, Rhodes goes for another Cody cutter, but Solo catches him and turns it into a powerbomb and a cover for 2. Solo is dominant as he lands 2 headbutts on Cody as he's hanging upside down in the corner of the ring. Every time Cody mounts a comeback, Sikoa puts him back down. Then, the beginning of the end. After a superplex and a crossroads on Sikoa, the Bloodline make their appearance, with Tama Tonga and Tangaloa attacking Rhodes. After taking a beating, Solo goes for the pin, but only manages a 2 count as Cody kicks out. Tonga and Loa then beat on Rhodes some more, until Kevin Owens makes his way out and beats up the Bloodline. Tonga gets the better of them though, and the numbers game plays a part as Owens gets beaten down. Fear not, though. Randy Orton is next up. He comes running, well, jogging down the entranceway. Once in the ring, he RKO's Lower, and Owens then stunning him for good measure. Owens then swanton solo from the top rope, followed by Rhodes hitting him with a crossroads. Cody goes for the cover, but somehow Solo kicks out. Orton and Owens then fight Tonga and Lower back through the crowd, leaving Rhodes and Sikoa alone again in the ring. Rhodes then leaves the ring, only to throw the ring steps back into the ring and hitting Solo with them twice. As he lines up a third hit, Solo spears Rhodes. The steps go flying, hitting the ropes and nearly landing on both men. It was quite a dicey moment when them steps came back. The resulting cover, though, by Solo only gets him a 2 count. Solo then takes himself out after setting up the steps in the corner and hitting them when Rhodes dodged an attack. Rhodes capitalises and hits Solo with 2 crossroads. As Cody goes for a third crossroads, Jacob Fatu enters the fray, taking out Cody from the top rope, then climbing back up to hit him with a moonsault. Fatu then drags Solo over the top of Rhodes, covering him and hoping to end the match. Cody, unbelievably, kicks out. Jacob then takes Cody out of the ring and lays him on the announcer's table after clearing it. Fatu climbs up to the top turnbuckle and splashes Rhodes through the table, injuring himself in the process. Now, it looked like he caught his shin on the edge of the table, and I can imagine that hurt. Solo then rolls Rhodes back into the ring, splashes him from the top rope and goes for the cover. Rhodes yet again kicks out on 2. There's no putting this guy down, is there? Solo then goes for the Samoan spike, but Cody's that weak he can't stand and just collapses to the mat. Rhodes, though, somehow manages a Cody cutter, but this wipes him and Solo out. Then the moment arrives, the music plays, and Roman Reigns returns. He heads towards the ring, enters and Superman punches Solo. He follows this up with a spear and Solo is downed. Rhodes then hits one more crossroads and covers Solo for the victory, retaining his title. Reigns never took his eyes off Cody the whole time. So, Reigns is back, just like we said, and to be fair, everyone else said.
Everyone else did say that, yeah.
If you follow our predictions, we drew, so I retain the imaginary prediction belt.
Feel free to check out the predictions video to see how we did.
Yeah, it's a bit of a laugh and a bit of a discussion. But, I mean, I think this was an excellent main event. I mean, apart from the Jax Bayley match, for me,
it dipped a bit, yeah.
Because there was, like, not necessarily no interference, but there was just, like, no, not even a stipulation, but just... Like with the first match, Morgan and Ripley, you knew Dom was going to be there. You knew something was going to happen.
Yeah.
Seth, Punk, McIntyre, you knew something was going to happen.
I think maybe it would have been better if Tiffany came out with Jax and she was always there.
Yeah.
I mean, she had the run out, but I don't know. It just it didn't feel like it was much to it.
And then the Bloodline, you knew something was going to happen. And then Logan Paul and LA Knight, you just know that it's never clean with Paul. Whereas the Jax and the Bayley match, it was just. That one was the weakest match of the whole event. But everything was absolutely top tier. Thank you again for watching.
And we'll see you Tuesday for our Raw review to take a look at the Wyatt 6 and the fallout from the Judgment Day.
Ooh, that should be good.